Shall we kick off? Will, you ready? Good morning and welcome to our keynote now. And it's the second time over here on SMX. Third time? No, second time on SMX. And we're having this time Will over here, and you were here 4 years ago, and I remember you were sitting on a chair and you said, we got to change sometimes. And maybe this time you will tell us we got to change as well. But one thing we know is we are very happy to have a big stage, because 4 years ago we were in Hilton, I remember, and you were just walking around and walking around. And you have now my wristband.
Yes.
And I was guessing that will do 2,000 steps now. The interesting piece is, 2,000? 3,000, okay.
3,000, that's what I think.
Great. Maybe we have a prize if we have the best guess over here in the room. He's starting. And I think the interesting piece is Will has a very long history in search and I think in data. And now we're talking today about people, and this will be very interesting. So please give Will a warm welcome.
Thank you. Wow.
Whew.
Space costume. All right, so I never have enough time to get through all my slides, so I want to just start rocking and rolling. So let's go ahead and get things moving. Oh, let me go back one. There we go. So I'm really fascinated. I talked about this a little bit yesterday. I'm fascinated by human psychology and why people choose to buy things, right? Like why we choose to make the decisions we make. And I've been so fascinated by this that I've challenged my team to start giving me more and more examples of how we're doing this at SEER, on like how we're becoming better search marketers by talking to people. So the cool part is while this will be very kind of, here's the things we should be doing, I have 5 or 6 real examples of how we made our clients more money by actually listening to their customers. So let's go ahead and get started. So this is, I don't have a lot of audience participation, but I need some help on this one. So what words, so you're consultants, SEOs, what words would you tell me if I came to you, given what you know about my business, what would you tell me I should rank for? What are the words I should go after as a business? Name SEO agency. Any other words? Search consultant. Any other words?
Making more money from Google.
Making more money from Google. People actually definitely search that way. Get on top of Google. All right, so all those are wrong. Turn the audio up. That's a big fail. They're all wrong. And this is interesting. And the reason why they're wrong, does anybody know why all those are wrong? Everyone else does it? No. People don't search that way? No. People definitely do search that way. Let me tell you why that was wrong, or why that's wrong, because I've done it. So there was a time when I optimized my site for 6 core keywords, and this was back when you had to optimize for the singulars and plurals differently, you know. So it was SEO consultant, SEO consultants, SEO agency, SEO agencies, and SEO company and SEO companies. We ranked on the top 5 of Google globally from about 2008 until about 2012 for those keywords globally. So you would think, after I beat all of you out, with the exception of maybe 2 or 3, that the money would just start coming in, right? The leads would start coming in. And guess what we found out? We did get a lot of leads. I never closed one deal, and that was back when you could get keyword data in Google Analytics still, remember those days? I never closed one new customer because I ranked highly on Google. Not one. For words like SEO company, SEO companies, SEO consultant, SEO consultants, SEO agency, and SEO agencies. Not one closed deal. And the reason why I didn't is because I didn't understand the people behind the query. I didn't understand the type of person who types in SEO company. Now that there's machine learning in the algorithm, Google is better able to sense disappointment in search results. So as machine learning started coming into the algorithm more, I lost a lot of those rankings. But it didn't matter, because none of those rankings ever helped my business to grow at all. So when I did this search, and I did this in San Diego, if you search for SEO company, just the word SEO company, not San Diego, Moz, good work. They know a thing or two about search. They're number one. They're an aggregator. There's another one that's an aggregator, but all the other blue links were local companies. Local companies. And above all that, there was a map result. Are you starting to understand why that word never got me closed deals? Are you getting it? The people searching for SEO company, SEO companies, SEO consultant, SEO consultants, SEO agency, and SEO agencies, I tried so hard to rank for those, and I did, and they did nothing for my business. It gave me a lot I could brag about, but that was it. Those people were small businesses, and we typically work with large businesses. So when they came to our site and they saw all the logos of the big companies we work with, they went, not for me, and they left. And over time, as machine learning started understanding, I was disappointing people. They eventually started saying, but when people's search is satisfied, they typically end up searching for people that are local to them. So why are we making people have to take another query to find what most of them want? Be careful of the words you go after. I spent years trying to rank for that word, built a whole lot of awesome directory links, and some other things. Adjustment. Oh, not good. Back? I'm back. All right, so what was I saying? Directory links. Yes, I was building a lot of directory links on websites nobody would ever visit with really great anchor text that said SEO company and SEO companies and SEO consultants and consultants. And it did nothing for my business. Nothing, which is disappointing. Small businesses were like, you're not what I want. But I didn't listen or talk or try to understand the people who searched for that word. So I invested years of my life to try to rank for a word that everybody in here just told me is the right word for me to go after. And the machine learning will tell you that you're wrong. So here is a trajectory of SEER's revenue growth. So I didn't rank well on Google, but that's not a bad chart. It ends up somewhere around 13 million. That's not a bad chart. That's a good chart for business, right? Good chart for business? Yeah. But none of that came from ranking well on Google. None of it. Even though I had the rankings. So, thanks. We're better than ranks. This is Helen Fang. She's a client of ours. She has worked with us on about 6 different projects of the different companies she's gone to over our 12-year history. She has referred us to probably, oh my God, I'd say she's probably referred us to $1 million to $2 million in revenue over that time frame. She did more for me than ranking well on Google did by taking care of my client, my customer. Did more for me than ranking well on Google for words like I mentioned before, which I won't say. So ranks let me brag. It was cool to come up here and be like, hey, everybody, guess what? You're all SEOs? Yeah, you're trying to rank for words? Yeah, I ranked number 2 for the word SEO agency globally. That felt good. Got me no clients. 0. Taking care of my clients got me everything. So to get thanks, you're gonna have to actually try to understand people. You can't just sit behind your desk and look at monthly search volumes. So I oftentimes, when I give this presentation, I ask people, what words do you think of when you see this silhouette? Throw out a word. What is it? I can't hear that. Sorry.
I think it was victory.
Victory. Okay, victory. Okay. Who do you see in this picture? If I asked you, who are they? Soldiers, right? What are the clues that these are soldiers? Helmets, guns. So they have something on their heads and they have guns that makes them soldiers. Well, what about these people? They have something on their heads and guns. Are they not soldiers? No, they're insurgents. Oh, they're an insurgent? Well, why? They have guns and never mind. Think about the word choice. Interesting when we silhouette, how we think of things, but then when we show this, that can't be a soldier. This is human psychology I'm learning about. How people think they see things, and that affects what they type into Google. It comes full circle, trust me. So, our job starts with somebody entering a word in to the Google. But before the word, the person has a thought. Maybe in 2025, you just will think things and they'll just be delivered to your house. But somebody has a thought, they have a need. They have a need before they search. And that's why when we talk about the future of search, I think we have forgotten sometimes of the human need that is behind the query. What do they actually need? And there's money in understanding what's behind those needs. So I think the thing that we've done as search professionals, we've lumped people into these keyword groups, and we forgot that they're actually people with hopes and dreams and baggage and bias. And those biases and that baggage affects what they actually search for. I'll give you some examples. I've been showing this slide forever because in America, if you're marketing real estate to Chinese Americans, this is their part of what affects their purchasing decision. That affects whether or not people are going to buy a home in the United States if they're Chinese. Is keyword research, or what are you doing today that helps you to understand that about their buying patterns? Do you find that in Moz tools? Do you find that in AdWords? I know it's coming in the next version, Rand. Where do you find that information? Here's the secret. You have to actually talk to people. And that affects whether or not they convert, which is why we have to talk about revenue and not leading metrics that we hope eventually gets to revenue. Maya Angelou reminded us that people will forget what you said, they may forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And how you feel affects a lot of the things that you actually do on the web. And I have example after example I'm going to show you of customers going through search results and talking out what they think. Sorry about that. And you can tell that they bring feeling to those searches. We lump them into big groups. They're individuals. All right, so when we talk about labels and labeling things, and this is a little bit of an American slide, but you understand that unlike most of you, we in America did not make sure that everybody had health insurance. And you all are way ahead of us on that, So it has been labeled Obamacare, but it was originally called, that's a label that it's been given, but it was called the American Health Care Act or whatever. That's the new one. Sorry, it's the ACA. Sorry. So let me show you what happens when Americans were interviewed about whether or not they support the ACA or if they support Obamacare.
I believe that Obamacare...
Turn that up.
Premiums are too much, too high. People are end up paying more. So I believe in the Affordable Care Act.
And so the Affordable Care Act is more affordable than Obamacare?
Right, correct.
Right.
Which is obvious based on the name.
It's in the name, right.
Right.
Why do you like the Affordable Care Act more than Obamacare?
Because I don't like Obama.
But you like the Affordable Care Act?
Yeah.
What if I told you Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act are the same thing?
Oh my gosh. So think about that though. The same thing. You label one Obamacare and people go, I don't like it. You name the other one the Affordable Care Act and they're like, awesome. Think about that. That's keywords. That's keyword research. People bring baggage and bias to their research when they're searching for things. And if you don't talk to them, you'll never know that. Let me show you a few examples. So I'm going to show you an example, and you have to listen really closely. So we're about to have some audio, so let's turn this up. How the same word can have different context. So imagine you work at SEER, and we work together. And as you're leaving, I say something to you. Listen to the difference between these three similar phrases.
Get the fuck out! Get the fuck out!
How would that make you feel?
Get the fuck out! Get the fuck out of here! Get the fuck out of here! Get the fuck out of here!
I would take an offer from anybody besides Mr. Wonderful.
Manish, you're a get the out of here.
All right. So, might you feel a little bit different about me based on those 3 ways of you leaving the office? If I go, get the fuck out of here, you're like, I'm probably coming back tomorrow. If I said, get the fuck out of here, you're like, man, he really doesn't want me here. And then if I said what Mr. Wonderful said on Shark Tank, you'd probably be like, I think he might punch me in the face. But all 3 words are the same phrase. And therein, my friends, is where keyword research fails you. Because all 3 of those words are get the fuck out. But did you feel differently about all 3 of those? So when we minimize people to what they search for, we don't humanize them in the same way we don't humanize insurgents. We put labels on them. Be careful. And Google's getting better and better at understanding this. This is what I meant yesterday when I said there's no intonation in keyword research. So if you were going after the word, get the fuck out, it would actually have different meanings based on what you actually projected, even though it's all the same word. And I have proof that Google's starting to understand how we feel more and more. And if you're not studying how people feel about the content that you build and write, then are you potentially doing what I did, which is spend years trying to optimize for a keyword that never brings you any business because you don't understand the people behind those searches? And I'm trying to save you all from going down that same path that I did because I wasted a lot of time. So I'm going to kind of speed this up a little bit, and I'm going to show you examples of disappointment. So let's start with machine learning basics. So I'm fortunate in that, I think when you speak at a lot of conferences, you'll look your name up and you'll see like if people are talking about you, and then you'll try to respond to their tweets and respond to their blog posts and stuff. And so I've looked at my name for years on Google, and it used to all be me. And then all of a sudden, this other guy showed up. I mean, if I start taking my shirt off, maybe I could match up with him. I said, well, why is this guy showing up? And if you look at the bottom right here, people started looking for Wil Reynolds the model. And Google started realizing that I'm way too not model-like. So I was disappointing people searching for Wil Reynolds. So people were searching for Wil Reynolds. They wanted to see him. They instead saw this guy. And they were disappointed in that. So then the machine said, we're seeing that people don't want to see this guy. So we're going to start to put that guy in. And it slowly started being more of him as the machine started getting more and more data on whether or not that Wil Reynolds was solving that query. See, Google doesn't want to make you have to do 10 searches to find one thing. So they start diversifying the search results to see if your click pattern changes. And as you can tell now, this guy's a model. I won't say anything about my face. I don't want to insult my mom and dad. One of the most modified searches on my name is Wil Reynolds Model. And those people act differently. They have different satisfaction than when you search and find me. Now, I'm all the blue links. Think about what that means. How is it that I'm all the blue links, but I'm getting pushed out of the image results? Let me give you an example. If I had a bag on stage, let's try this. I don't have a bag, but if I just like went behind here, you could actually still hear everything I'm saying, right? Everybody hear me? Right. If I was a model and I hid behind that sofa, you couldn't see my content. What's a model's content? Their face. You could put a bag over my face right now and still get every piece of content that you need out of me. Sad to say, but true. So users were like, yeah, that was the Wil Reynolds I was looking for. Definitely not the guy who looked like this. Google has learned that. That's the point. It's funny, but Google has learned that I was a disappointment and they have changed the search results in the same way that machine learning wasn't around in 2008 when I spent years trying to get freaking ranking for SEO company. Today, you have the tools to not make that mistake if you just stop and open your eyes and look at the search results and what Google is showing you. All right, let me get to the real stuff. So I'm gonna skip a bunch of this. All right, first thing, I've learned this, and I'm shocked by this. When you search on Google, many of you will only see 4 suggested results. I always see 10. I have a link somewhere on my YouTube that shows you how to change your settings to show you 10. And I'm gonna show you why only seeing 4 instead of seeing 10 affects your ability to be a more empathetic marketer. So I have a friend named Dara, and she recently hurt herself running, and she was unable to run. She was unable to run, and her husband voted for Trump, so she's very upset at him. And she wants to get out and run. And she can't. She's injured right now. And I started doing some research for her. And here's an example of a landing page that I found from paid. Here's another example of a landing page that I found from paid. And here's another example of one I found from paid. There's no human here, is there? And when you think about it, I think the person that nailed it best was Jefferson Health. Get back to gardening, travel, jogging. If anybody here has ever hurt themselves, back pain, knee pain, do you want medial collateral ligament reconstruction? Or do you want to get back to doing the thing you love? That's what happens when you actually take the time to understand the people behind the searches. You realize that, my friends, is their actual why. Their why is the fact that they can't pick up their son anymore because their back hurts and they can't reach into the crib, and when he wiggles, he hurts his back. True story. And I don't want that to be the case. I don't care what you have to do to it, just let me pick my son up again. What's interesting is because I see 10 results, I was able to tell something about these users. So I just don't hit enter on Google. I've talked about that for years. But you can see that people are looking for scars, recovery time, and cost. Ask yourself, the keyword that you're going after is so bad right now. If you type that word and hit space on Google, what are the modifiers? And does your content match the modifiers? So for one of our clients, I went to them and I said, hey, you may not want to talk about these things, but this is what people want. So if you want to create more sticky landing pages so people don't pogo stick or whatever we're calling it, you might want to write that content there because that's what people are actually looking for. You're making them go do another search to then get answers to their question. Why are you making them do that and then get exposed to all these competitors of yours? What's interesting is then I saw meme, game, gifs, and jokes. Interesting. Why do you think those are showing up? Caretakers. A lot of people searching on Google for knee surgery keywords are caretakers who are trying to get somebody's mind off of their injury, the pain, the recovery. And they want gifts, they want jokes, they want memes, they want games, they want something to get their mind off of their injury. So with this client, we started talking about what they gave people, the caretakers. Now, I didn't build the content, right? Because I'm not gonna build you a bag that you put stuff in and send it off. But I helped to open my clients' eyes to something that they had not seen themselves. The last one was for dogs. They don't do dog knee surgery, so we made sure that they negative matched that in all their PPC, and we did. All right, so you have to have a belief that your job isn't over when you get ranked. That's one of the fundamental problems of the mindset of SEO. I got ranked for SEO company and thought my job was done, and I was wrong. Because my job is to actually to find clients and close deals, not to get rankings. So let me show you 4 real wins. So one problem, I hope this person isn't here, but if you are, hey, thanks for helping me to learn. Glad you fired us. Because we're not listening to data. So we have a client who one of our teams, and Katie's here, so thank you, Katie, for sharing this. She said, all right, I'm gonna try to convince this client with data that we don't belong ranking for the word water cooler because they're a B2B company, and mostly when you search for water coolers outside of one B2B company all the way at the bottom, or water dispensers, or whatever the keyword freaking was, only one at the very, 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 very bottom. Look at all the words that people search for. They were looking for companies in the US that sold them that. And when you click on all the results, they look like this. They look like e-com sites. And Google is rewarding that, right? The machine learning is saying this is what people want because they're modifying their search to look for these brands, so why don't we just show them those brands? Makes sense. This page over here was our client site. We went, you're a B2B lead gen. No, we should still go after that word. All right, so then we tried something different. And we said, okay, well, we're gonna put all these pages through SimilarWeb, and it's gonna show you that they're all shopping sites. 1, 2, 3, 4, all of them are that. And then the one person is business and industry. You're swimming against the tide. Use Google's machine learning to become a better content marketer. The machine learning is telling you what they believe people are highly likely to want. You just gotta go look for it. So yeah, we got fired because we showed data that said 9 out of the 10 results aren't B2B. So if Google's only holding one spot for B2B, and that's number 10, then if we do all this great work and get you on the first page of Google, for what? What are we gonna do for the business? And they were like, we still want it. And we're like, all right, well, I guess we're gonna get fired. Downside of RCS. So it's funny, like, this is all of us thinking that we actually understand Google. And I feel like Google's more like Joe Biden, like, really? You think you actually know how this stuff works? They're like, we don't even know how this works. You surely don't. All right, another example where we listened to people, and that made real money for this client. I don't have the numbers on the money because they don't share it with us because they're a huge company. So basic human behavior, we don't like being sold to. Notice. My first slide, second slide, third slide didn't talk about my company, didn't talk about me, didn't talk about the fact of how long I've been in the industry, didn't talk about all my awards and shit. Why? Because you guys don't care about that. You don't care. Sorry if I spit on somebody in the front. You don't care. I'm fired up about this. You don't care. So why should I lead in with what you don't care about so you can roll your eyes and check your email for another 30 seconds? That's human basic freaking nature. We don't like people selling us stuff. Could you imagine if I jumped on stage and then all of a sudden in the middle of this presentation, Alexander comes up and goes, hey, next year, SMX Munich will stop for a couple minutes. I want to tell everybody in the middle of you talking exactly where it's going to be next year and what they should do. Would you like that? Would you like it if I said, oh, I'm about to show this slide, but let me also talk about all of our cool clients and all the work we do and the work we could do for you? You would hate my guts. So this is basic human nature. You want the information. You don't want the sales pitch. So we were working on the word cloud computing. And we looked at the results and we said, well, definition, what is, images. Why do you think images rank for the word cloud computing? Presentation, ooh, who's that presentation? That's a smart mofo right there. You're very close. Here you go, cloud. If you don't know what cloud computing is, guess what you have to be told? There's a file over here on your laptop. And when you save it, it ends up over here at home. It's the cloud. And you have to draw a little arrow to show these freaking nimnits that like the file moves when it's already there. They don't get it. And Google is smart enough to understand that the people for whom this query is the right query, that's the right answer for them. So if your content is highly technical, you might actually miss out on this user. So, PowerPoint, my man, third most searched for phrase. So we broke this down for the client. We said, well, we need people looking for PowerPoints, PDFs. They're looking for what it means. They're looking for the basics. That's what they want. So, this is a paid search ad from IBM. Does that look like it's giving you the basics? These are all paid search ads, and I'm gonna go through them relatively fast. Basics? No. Basics? If you don't know what cloud computing is, what's the odds that you know what a virtual machine is? Paid. Paid. If you don't know what cloud is, what is the odds that you know what hybrid cloud is? Basics. If you don't know what cloud is, why would you want a Gartner report and fork over all your information so I can spam you without me even telling you anything? Why would you sell me Office 365? Paid click, $30 a click. I didn't say I wanted Office 365, I typed in the word cloud computing. Or I don't even know what Platform 9 does. They're not even gonna tell you what they do. They just want the lead, baby. We're not gonna even tell you what we do. We're gonna pay $30 a click and you're just gonna fork over your freaking information because we all love more emails from companies trying to sell us shit. That's paid. Organic is interesting. Organic makes you earn it. When I started doing this work, there were no cloud computing companies on the first page of Google in the US. No companies. It was all definition sites. And when you had to earn it, Google was not gonna let you pay for that crap, right? So Amazon page says, what is cloud computing now? It has a little video. It says cloud computing basics. Why? Because people are like, that's what I was searching for. I wanted to know the basics. This is IBM's page in organic. What is cloud computing? Perfect. That's what I wanted to know. Here's Microsoft's page. What is cloud computing? A beginner's guide with little images. Thank you. That's what people actually wanted. And now, we were the first company, how can I say this without getting myself in trouble? So we were the first SEO company, I believe, or first SEOs to get a company ranked on the first page of Google in the US for the word cloud computing. And it's because we had to fight with them for 12 months to make educational content because all their pages were sales pages. We built no links. We did no new content. We just took their old explainer content and repurposed it. And then within 6 months, everybody else copied us, so now you see a bunch of them up there. But 300,000 extra visits. Tweaking a page to listen better to people. Real revenue, not vanity metrics, real money. All right, talk about real money. I have real numbers in here, $601,200. Why? Because it's real money. Actually, human psychology says this. I read this in a book somewhere on the human brain. The more exact your number is, the more people believe it. Rounded numbers, you laugh because you're like, oh shit, I did just believe that that was more accurate because he had a 1 in it. Instead of 600,000, I have $600,200. And you're like, wow, that sounds really real. Like whatever he's gonna show must have really happened. That's how the human brain works. Study it. So all we did was tweak 8 meta descriptions for a client, 8 on an e-commerce site. I also don't have a timer up here, so I gotta know how I'm doing.
50 minutes.
Good, good. Oh, we got time. Let me slow it down a little bit. How are all of you doing today? All right, so we looked at 8 meta descriptions and tweaked those 8 for an e-com business. And here's the actual numbers of what happened as a result. One of the 8 pages we tweaked got a 307% increase in click-through rate without the ranking going up. Let me repeat that. That is 3 times the amount of traffic without the ranking moving up at all. Your client likes that shit. But if you don't take the time to relook at, here you go, me too. Like this is new to me. This is why I'm speaking about this stuff and trying to get you all to change what you're doing. I usually built meta descriptions like all of you did. You give it to somebody, oh, go over here and write these meta descriptions for me because I want to go to SMX Munich. And they're out writing meta descriptions and they wrote them 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and they probably haven't updated them until you get a new SEO in who goes, let's redo the meta descriptions. 2, 3 years old. All we did was look at the PPC ad copy and go, why don't any of our meta descriptions sound like your PPC ad copy for this wedding client? Why? Because when you think about your wedding, we were clinical. Blue wedding, orange wedding dress with sleeves. We weren't like, feel gorgeous on your wedding day. Those are the kind of changes that we made to get those kind of results, and it's real money. All right, so that client went like, can you stop link building, please? Because every time I go into my boss's office and I talk to him about links, he glazes over and just gives another 100,000 to the PPC people. Why? Because they talk about money. They talk about money. We can't talk about links and domain authorities and PageRank and RankBrain. I've never seen RankBrain end up in a quarterly report by a company, have you? Money does. All right, listening to people, another example. So again, Katie. Woohoo, Katie, thank you so much for the work you do. Because she's given me a lot of these examples. I'm really glad she's here and she's able to see her work on stage. Actually, this is not Katie. Sorry, Katie, you're next. This is Laura Kane, my bad. So Laura works on a project, rounded number, because we don't have it totally nailed yet, so this is where we think it's gonna end up. All we did was ask the client to talk to 6 people. It's a project management software. I'm gonna show you the simplest way to make this client an extra 200 grand, we believe. No new links, no new content, new layout, that's it. We took the same old rankings they already had, and they had content like this, the kind of content you just let people write, right? It goes on for days and days and days and days and days and days. And we actually said, let's talk to some freaking project managers, and let's ask them what they think about this content. And they went, oh man, it's too long, it's hard for me to find the thing I wanted, so we just did this. The client made hundreds of thousands of more dollars. No new rankings, no new links, no new content. Talk to people made my client money. So here's Katie's example. Client said, we know who our customer is. Why do you SEO people want to talk to customers? Can't you just go and build the links and the stuff that I heard about and write the content really cheaply at scale? Why do you want to talk to people? We said, we think we might actually learn something. We might actually be slightly more empathetic as marketers if we hear people's intonation when they're talking about their problem. So I had to take some stuff out, but I love it when I can show you real slides that we actually sent to real clients, because this is not bullshit. This is real stuff. So we talked to clients or their customers, and we found out what their jobs were before they went into this home inspector business. Took out the name. The client thought that their audience was contractors, so let me show you the mistake they made. They spent what we estimate to be almost $300,000 creating new content for the wrong audience, because they didn't want their SEO agency to talk to 7 people and hear them out and understand them better. So start looking at this number, start looking at this metric, content production versus revenue. You're churning out a lot of content because that's what you hear you're supposed to do, but if it's not converting, why are you doing it? So Katie said, let me just change one of your meta descriptions. That's it. Let me just change one of them. Let's get away from this technical stuff and let's talk to them more as the people that we have found out that they were. 58% increase in click-through rate. I believe it's a 59% increase in conversion rate. Money. All right. I have an example for you that I have no idea the revenue impact, but to me it's everything. We were talking to a group of customers for one of our clients, and they go after words like buy iPad monthly installments, people that are trying to pay for something month over month over month. And instead of just going after those keywords, we talked to people. And one of the people we talked to was an old lady. And she said, I'm on a fixed income. That's why I pay for things in monthly installments, because I don't have the ability to I don't have the money to buy it all at once, the gifts that I want to buy for my kids or my grandkids. When you hear that, you realize people don't type in rent to own on fixed income. People don't type buy iPad and I'm on a fixed income. But that affects every decision she makes. We talked to another person who said, I'm doing this to rebuild my credit. Why? Well, because my husband and I got divorced, and then I got my identity stolen 2 weeks after that. So that's why I'm doing that. And we said, oh. So what we're learning is the people's why behind the search. And we're showing you with revenue that that's helping us to become better marketers and make more revenue for our clients. Earlier, I talked about money and dollar signs in quarterly reports. Look at the word order checks when you write a check. I know some of us still do that. I searched for order checks online. One day I was looking to order checks. And look at the dollar signs. All in paid, 13 dollar signs. Let's look at the SEOs. Great job, SEOs. Not a dollar sign anywhere on the first page of Google. Just keep your eyes open. This stuff is all around you, the machine learning, the marketers, the PPC people have to test ad copy all the time. And they're finding out that dollars make a difference. So why aren't we doing it? Why aren't we? I don't understand. It's sitting right in front of us. All right, so let's start putting some listening into action. You have to get from behind your desk. So we've actually started visiting, for B2B, we've started visiting our clients' clients to understand what their day-to-day is actually like. And this makes me so happy to see Katie Kirchner go out to a client, one of our clients' clients, and ask them questions. And we found out that they did not have our clients' sample books. And that's how they make every decision. Our client builds huge manufacturing company, huge rolls of fabric. And we found out that some people don't have the books. So now we're building Facebook campaigns to target interior designers who target a certain type of buyer to make sure they just get our books. We're not trying to sell them. We're trying to make sure that they can show their customers more options. This one's so cool. So I don't know if you have like a home, you don't have Home Depot here, but like a hardware store, like a big chain hardware store. And one of our clients is a company called Trex, and they make decking. And what we found is when people go to their hardware store, guess what the hardware store people say in store? They say to them, Trex is the expensive stuff. Why would you buy that? We got this other cheaper brand that can save you a lot of money. So the searchers changed their search behavior in store. And we had to be in store, and our team actually will go to a store to see our client's product on the shelf and to talk to the sales associates. And the sales associates were dropping words that were never in our keyword research. And the client then said, can you build me a microsite that we target at the latitude and longitude of every major chain hardware store in the country where we can get their latitude and longitude because we need to talk to that buyer differently. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, listening to real people and understanding the context by which they search. We would have never come up with that in a million years if they didn't hire a research firm. So I'm gonna show you a couple of things, a couple last few things. We're wrapping up. Got about 5 minutes left, I imagine. 5, 6, 7. All right. So something I like to do is to get competitive intelligence. And we like to get the websites of our competitors, heat maps, and how people go through them. So let me show you what we do. It's super simple. You can do this on Fiverr, cheap. Turn the volume up a little bit for me. It should kick in a little bit. Or not. That's fine. So let me go back so you can see what happened while we're working on the audio, because I have some audio coming up. So look at what this person did. They typed best moving advice was their search. They ended up on this BuzzFeed article. And then what ended up happening as he scrolled through is the words he uses, he said, oh, this is great. It says 33. And then he goes, this is pretty lowbrow, which means like not great.
Or whatever it's providing. So this seems to be pretty lowbrow, like.
Pretty lowbrow. Let's look at somebody else. What to bring when moving is what she searched for. And notice she also got to that BuzzFeed article, clicked on it, and then found the same content. Same content, different search. And we're watching how people search and modify their searches. And ultimately, she said something very similar. She said, if this was an actual checklist or something, it would be more helpful. So then what do? Now I know I've got disappointed users. This is how you turn this into a search strategy. I now have a pool of users who are disappointed. And with those disappointed users, what do? We make better content because Google might actually reward that. So we have their demographic information, we know who they are. The queries bring up different, the same result. So let me show you what we do. So we go, okay, SEMrush, woohoo, SEMrush. Let's drop that URL into SEMrush and find all the words that it's ranking for. And that's a lot of search volume that people are disappointed by. People like you, when you're moving and you get to a BuzzFeed article, you're like, this sucks. It's a BuzzFeed article. It's not gonna help me do anything but figure out how to move my cat. So we looked at all these words it ranks for and all that search volume. And we said, well, we now have a group of people who told us that they don't like this content, but it still ranks really well, which means just like me, before the machine learning kicked in, eventually I got pushed out. This is a very push-outable search. The brand is big, I get it, but I think you might be able to beat them with user signals if you wanted to go after it. So we have to do more listening. I know it's hard for me to say that I'm talking, but it'd be weird if I just sat up here and just asked people questions like, how was your day? I love your Surface. What made you buy that Surface? You wouldn't like my presentation very much, but what I'm trying to do more of at SEER, when I'm not here evangelizing this for all of you to do this, I'm spending time watching how people search, how they find things. Let's turn the volume up just a little bit, and I'll leave you all with a couple of more videos. Let's see. Here it is. Watch this, how long this guy's search phrase is.
Interface, photo,
Now, we call that the long tail. Screw the long tail. Look at the intent. Easy. A lot of people want an easy photo editing app, but they don't always put the word easy in front of it. In the same way that we learned that, that one lady was on a fixed income by listening. Let me show you the next one. Look at how far down the results he is.
Just trying to avoid the 2016 one. I'm trying 2017. It's more up to date.
All right. Okay. So first of all, I got to tell you a couple cool things about this. This is just one guy. So he skipped over the first 5 results. I hate click-through rate curves because we try to bundle people into this like, well, they all click on this percent of the time. Every video I watch, people skip over shit all the time. And we're like, oh, no, if we rank number 1, then we'll just get 25% of the clicks, and that's how everybody does it. No, that is not how you do it. So what happened is he said 2016 sounded old. It was written in December. And we did this in January. The label made him skip it. The other thing that's crazy is above that ranking, you know how, I'm in a safe room here, you know how in Google it's got the different date snippets, right, next to the results? There were 3 of them that said 2017. Users don't see that. They look at where they click. So he was reading the blue bar where he clicks. He skipped over 3 other results written in 2017 because he assumed that because you couldn't actually see the date in it, that it was old, even though the date was right there. These are the nuances of how people search. So for my client who built a photo editing app, I'm now saying, how can we update your content to legitimately show the new features in 2017? How can we use screen captures to show people how easy it is to go from picture to photo? We might need some animated GIFs to show people how easy it is. Well, why? Well, because we talked to 10 people and they're showing us that what they care about most is ease. So I think I am probably at about time. I just want to remind you all, do this on the mobile as well. We are seeing different search behavior on the mobile. This user, watch her skip right over that rich snippet. Skip. How many of you are going, oh, well, if a rich snippet shows up, this percentage of the, not in this case. And when we talk to these people, and I want to show you one last thing, she skipped over all these. Why? Because for her, the first one she clicked on said 2017, the next one said 2016. Do you see all those 2016s in there and 17s? She skipped over all of them. She never even saw the date. So I will leave you with that. I don't need to show you any more of her stuff. I just want you all to say goodbye to the old school way of doing our work. Google's gotten a lot smarter, and if we just keep thinking that we're going to brute force our way in with links and content, we might actually have to start solving some people's problems. Thank you so much for your time, and thanks for having me in Munich. Super. Thank you. There you go.
How many steps?
Oh, I don't know. 2,000.
No, less.
I went from 3,800 to, oh no, it's only
Super.
1,100 steps.
Yeah,
That was it.
I'm very disappointed. No, thanks very much, Wil. Super keynote, but he just had 1,100 steps. Any question from your side? May I? Would you like to stay on
Yeah,
stage?
I can take questions. I just don't want to take up your time.
Maybe I have a final question.
Okay.
I think we have a lot of talk about user signals in the end, to listening, and I think that's one big story. What do you think? Because my understanding is learning from what ranks good is still a good strategy to see, okay, this is what Google puts in number 1, 2, 3. Yep. Do you think this is similar in all countries? So that RankBrain works as well in US, like in Germany?
So
or in Austria?
I don't study algorithmic updates because I've been so overweighted on studying algorithmic updates for so many years, and I spent no time actually understanding how people choose to buy. So right now I'm like, I'm strong enough in algorithm updates. I have seen every one that Google's ever made, so I'm pretty much going to focus instead on the people side of the algorithm. But obviously there's a balance. If you have all the people skills in the world but don't understand how Google ranks things, you're going to fail. But I feel that I've got a really good foundation on how Google ranks things and less of a foundation on why people buy and why they click.
Super.
All right.
So thanks once again very much,
Thank
Wil.
you, everybody.
Super.